Good YouTube, Quinn Wade. Come to y'all with that instant hot topic basketball analysis on Analysis Playground on YouTube exclusively on there and here forever. And let's talk about how the James Harden of the Cleveland Cavaliers agreed to a 3-year, $97 million contract extension. Um, It also comes with a player option for the 28-29 NBA season. He also gets a trade kicker as well in this contract. James Harden became a free agent this offseason and waited for the Cleveland Cavaliers to finish their offseason business, which included a sign and trade for Peyton Watson before he ended up signing his contract. But Harden did step up because he played a big role in recruiting Peyton Watson during his restricted free agency, showing you that we need you, we want you, we want you on our team. And it worked because Peyton Watson and the Nuggets was able to agree to a sign trade to get him to Cleveland. And one thing people criticized James Harden for in the postseason was his defense. And the Cavaliers was getting torched a lot, especially by the wing position. And Peyton Watson is a guy that's mobile and athletic enough to guard multiple positions. He just have to prove that he can do it against elite competition and when it actually matters. And on top of that, we still have to see Peyton Watson play meaningful basketball for a long period of time, as he is young and he didn't really have that many opportunities with the Denver Nuggets. And the Denver Nuggets and the Cavaliers is a totally different situation anyway, because you got different coaches, you have different personnel than that team. So it's like learning basketball all over again a little bit, because what you did on that team is different what you're going to do on this team. Plus, I feel like Cleveland needs him more than Denver did. And since to me that would be true, obviously they're going to need him to step up and play a big role. But they believe he can do it. They feel that he can do it. So they gave him the contract. They traded for him. And we will see how that works out next season. Not only that, Harden was always expected to re-sign with the Cleveland Cavaliers, even when he did choose to opt out and become a free agent. Following his trade to the from the Los Angeles Clippers, Harden declined his $42.3 million player option and will now be on a contract with a $32.3 million annual average value. And that's about fair for what he can do. James Harden can still give you 20. He can still give you a couple assists. He can still get a couple rebounds as well. And of course, he can still knock down threes, hit a floater from time to time, and he just gives Donovan Mitchell a little bit more breathing room, since he can take some pressure off of him and make some plays himself, and even make some plays for Donovan Mitchell. That's why a lot of people liked it, to trade for James Harden going to Cleveland, and they had a lot of success, and it was really, really tough in a short amount of games. I mean, they only played like over 30 games together with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. And, James Harden fit. He made sense with that roster, and he played real well. So, obviously, you got to repeat it. You got to do it again. You got to show it all over again if you're James Harden. And he doesn't have a problem with that. He's not running away from the situation. He's not scared of being a Cavalier, and that's why he signed his contract. But honestly, James Harden, for his age, he is 36. He is a guy that we know has had playoff struggles, and that continue in the playoffs this year. But at the end of the day, you just got to look at it and say, if I'm not having a good game, I need my teammates to step up and have my back. Obviously, some of his teammates didn't step up as well as much as they needed to, especially against the New York Knicks, where they ended up getting swept in the conference finals. They just had a lot of trouble defending. They had a lot of trouble closing out games. And then on top of that, they just couldn't hang with them enough some other games to where they even had a chance. So James Harden was on record saying I thought we were the better team. Well, now you got another chance to back it up. Now you got another chance to prove it as you chose to stay with the Cavaliers again. And I was a little shocked that they gave him 3 years as well because he is 36. I know we James Harden, it never was based off athleticism really. He always had the skills, he always had the handle. He knew how to get to his sweet spots. He knew how to make the tough ones as well. He always got to the basket. He always was able to have all these different type of moves and all these different type of steps to be able to get the space that he needed to get his shots off and get the shots that he wanted. I mean, that's what you're banking on. Can he continue to do that for the next 2 to 3 years? And his contract ain't the worst thing ever, but at the same time, you're trusting that his work and his love and his passion and commitment for the game is going to pay off within this contract because nobody is going to be in a rush to trade for James Harden at this point of his career as he continues to age. And he is a person that they're trusting to play better in the playoffs, but I think he did have some games where he had to step up and he had to play well, and it worked sometimes as well. He didn't fail every single game. He didn't struggle every single game, but he had his efficiency drop, and he had turnovers that really was costly in the playoffs this year as well and throughout his career. And that's something that if he wants to be a champion, because he did say it out of his own mouth, the only thing I'm missing is a ring. Well, you got another opportunity. You got the bigs, you got the guards, you got the shooting, you got the spacing, and even Peyton Watson provides that. Now you got to do your part and step up in the playoffs. But Harden did average 19 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and 18 postseason games with the Cleveland Cavaliers as they finally was able to get to the conference finals with Donovan Mitchell being a franchise piece and their franchise cornerstone. Think that was something that they had to do eventually because they was doing a lot of roster changing, and the only reason why they did a lot of roster changing is because they feel like Kenny Atkinson and Donovan Mitchell and those guys was a good team, and they won 60 plus games. They was the number one seed in the East. They ended up flopping 2 years ago, and this year they ended up going in by getting rid of Darius Garland for James Harden. Some people looked at he was younger. He can shoot and do similar things to Harden. Some people looked at Harden gave them size. He gave them playmaking as well, and he gave them a guy that was more trustworthy. So I don't really know how this is going to play out, but they still should be one of the better teams in the conference. They still should be in that conversation as a team that can make the Eastern Conference Finals again. Philly is going to be in that conversation. The Knicks going to be in that conversation. There's several teams that's going to make it hard and tough to get there, just like they had to do this past off season. They really had to put their minds together. They really had to challenge each other, and that's the great thing about it is you only play 30 plus games when you include the playoffs in the regular season, where you played 26 games with the Cavaliers. That's the way you have to look at it. That's the way it's going to have to be. Figuring out things on the fly, learning on the fly, and continuing to push each other. You got enough talent to get it done. You got enough talent to be competitive on both ends of the court. Now it's just about stepping up and knowing your roles and playing your game the right way. Kenny Atkins said, we won the game analytically. Well, that's not the way to go about it, and that was a good joke to say, but they do have a lot of potential. So we'll see how their regular season goes. We'll see if their defense improves. We'll see if they can continue to score at a high level, and we'll see how tough they're going to be to defend because they have a lot of pieces that was on the roster last year. They didn't shake up their roster that much, and that's a good and a bad thing. But you know what I mean? But it's mainly because the East has gotten stronger. The East has gotten tougher, and their roster is getting a little older as well. But they still do have some young pieces that have potential and upside, and you just hope that they can put it together and learn and continue to get better. And some of these younger players step up a little bit more, and maybe they can show and prove that they're a better team this year than the previous years. and they should be, in my personal opinion, especially with this deal, and especially with Peyton Watson and the fact that they still have, decent top heavy type of roster, but they have enough quality players to where they should be fine, even when it comes to their bench. But at the end of the day, comment, like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell to get the analysis when it first comes out. Y'all stay blessed up. Y'all stay good. Peace. And I'll see y'all later today with more analysis. If it's meant, if not, I'll see y'all tomorrow if it's meant to be. Peace.